Hey, Chris here. A couple days ago, I did a video on how to layer heavy electric guitars, and I got a comment within seconds of posting the video. How about you show us how to track some aggressive vocals over those heavy electric guitars? And I thought that was a great idea. So that's what this video is about. You're gonna see the process with gear and with me tracking a heavy vocal that's gonna go from kind of whisper singing all the way up to screaming. And I'm going to show you how to dial in, how I dial in my compression, how I like to dial in my tracking effects for a vocal like this. And you're gonna get to see the pain and suffering of tracking a vocal like this. So let's get started. So first off, for aggressive vocals, I like tracking with one of these guys, and I like to hold it. I don't always hold mics when I track in the studio, but for this type of singing, I do. I realize you get some low-end transfer by holding it, and that I don't have a shock mount and all that stuff, but I don't care. I like being able to hold the mic. I like being able to kind of move how I want to move when I'm singing. And these mics, SM7B by Shure, sound really great for particularly aggressive vocals like this. If you go and look at footage in the studio of Metallica, he's singing through one of these. A lot of heavy bands like to do this mic. It's a dynamic mic, and I have it running through a cloud lifter and then into my Manley preamp, and I'm compressing and limiting a lot there. So let me show you that. So there's the cloud lifter. This thing allows a dynamic mic to accept phantom power, so it makes it a little bit more sensitive, and it sounds cooler. And then I've got that patched through my patch bay into my Manley. This is a Manley core, and you can see I've got my gain up. I got my input up a fair amount. I've got the low cut on at 120 hertz. And then I've got this compressor, which is fixed at a 3-to-1 ratio. I'm compressing quite a bit with a fast attack, adding a little bit of highs, dipping just a tiny, tiny bit in the mids, not really even a meaningful amount. And then here is a really cool part about this channel strip is that it's got a built-in limiter. So if I yell, then you can see that limiter come on. You can see it's coming on, even though there's not a whole lot of level going through. And that's going to have some wonderful implications as we track our heavy vocal. So that is my signal chain. And that's my signal chain going in, but that's not how I want to track. That's not how I want to hear my vocals when I'm tracking. And the effects that I'm going to add are partially because I think they sound kind of cool, and I'll probably have some variation of them when I actually go to mix. But mainly, they are to make me really comfortable when I'm delivering my vocal. I really do think these effects in some form, if this goes to a final version of a song, will be there. But I'm really interested in being able to interact with the mic, being able to whisper, being able to yell and scream and sing and articulate, and have the mic be, and the preamp and the whole signal chain be part of the instrument. And if I don't feel comfortable singing, I'm not going to be able to deliver the way I want to deliver. So here is the post input effects that I'm using for this. So I've got pretty much the same effects on every track that I'm going to use. We'll get into these chorus tracks in a little bit, but I'll go ahead and set up this one. And here are my chosen effects. I have the chorus first, but I'm actually going to activate this guy first. Ooh, okay. So you heard the noise go up, and I'm also band limiting it a little bit. This is going to make me comfortable during tracking. But in this style of music, particularly for this kind of singing, a lot of times the vocals are band limited. Maybe not this much. And by band limited, I mean I've got a filter. So I'm filtering out the lows by quite a bit, and I'm filtering out the very highs. So if I turn these off, test, 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 that's what you hear. Okay, that's the first part of what I'm doing on this signal chain. So we've got that going on. Okay, you heard the noise floor go up because I am compressing a lot. So I'm compressing twice. I'm compressing a ton on the manly, and I'm compressing here on this guy. And you can see the gain reduction working here quite a bit. Hey, hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's what I want. That's what I want to feel while I'm singing. A ratio of 5 to 1 or so. I didn't even touch those, but they felt right. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm putting some saturation in. This is like a tube pre-saturation model. Here, let me turn the saturation off or down. Test, 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 up, 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 up. It glues it. There's a little bit of distortion going on, but it's not like a guitar distortion. It's kind of like I don't know. It's like a tape or a tube sort of saturation. Yeah, and then if I turn the compressor all the way up, test, 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 test. We really want this thing squashed for the type of singing I'm going to be doing. So there's that. Those are the dynamic things I'm doing. And then I'm adding just a little bit of short reverb. And this is just the stock Logic reverb. Not very much of it. Here it is without it again. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in the context of singing, you do hear I'm in this kind of like hard small room. That's kind of what I'm going for this particular line. And I just kind of threw it on there and made sure it was a short decay and that there wasn't too much of it, and that's good. And then I've got a little bit of delay, and this is band limited as well. We've got, I don't want any, so you hear the S, but you don't hear it repeating a bunch. So you can see I've got the lows and the highs on both of these cut quite a bit. I want the sustain. I like that, but I don't want a bunch of going on. And then finally, I've got chorus. Let me turn the delay off here. 1, 2. This is going to impose a little bit of artificial pitch change. You'd think that I would have enough trouble with pitch just singing, but this is a different feel, a different sound. It's purposely mono. I don't want it swirling around the mix. So I wanted it first in the chain, or at least before the reverb and delay, because those are stereo. Hey, 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 hey. So if we put all those together, we have this. Hey! And I always stand up when I am tracking my vocals. And usually because I've written lyrics shortly before I go to track, a lot of times when I'm tracking stuff, I just mumble the right melody or what I want, and then lyrics are inspired in the process of mumbling over the music. And so usually I've got just a lyric sheet that I have either in my hand or I have taped over to the side somewhere. And in this case, it's taped to my bass guitar just off of camera. You probably saw it in one of the other cameras. But those are the lyrics. And we'll get to the method behind this in a little bit, but I'm going to do some singing. So I've got the main studio monitors off, got my lyric sheet taped up, got my headphone mix comfortable, including all the effects that you're hearing. Let's get to the calm verse, and then we'll get into the aggressive chorus. Here we go. I think those are great. I'm going to leave that alone for now. I think the simplicity is good. I don't hear any background vocals or anything. Let's get to the chorus. Now, the chorus has these moments of screaming followed by some melody, followed by more screaming. So it's this trade-off thing. So I'm going to show you what I do to make sure that I get the right intensity the whole time. It involves using 3 different tracks to get this right. And it all ends up sounding really cohesive at the end. But this is how I've found with this kind of thing, where you're jumping and you're doing a combination of screaming and singing, how it works best for me with my voice and with my approach. So I'm going to turn the delay on back here. Test. And you can see the top lines there are the chorus. Wait, you're going to miss your whole life if you don't stop and look around to see it. Live, now is the time to hold what you have and give thanks. Love what you have. Everything that is underlined is going to be aggressively spoken and held out. And I'm going to do a track that just has those. And then I'm going to go back and do other cool things. Now I'm going to listen back and I'm going to slowly sort of sing the in-between parts just to get a sense for timing and to see if I held everything out correctly there. First I gotta switch tracks. Test, test, test. Okay, so here it is. So the idea here is that I'm going to go ahead and sing the whole thing, but I'm not going to worry. I have this cool support of that other track, that other screamy track in there. So I'm not quite as pressured to make that as aggressive as it could be if I just tried to do the whole thing in one pass. These screams might actually turn out okay. Maybe some of them will even turn out better because I'm not thinking about it. But this gives me something to kind of hold on to and be comfortable with. So that's why I'm doing it this way. So now I'm going to track the singing part. Listening back to those, I'm going to go to the desk now and just see and hear what I've got. This is kind of like comping, but I'm going to leave them on their different tracks, and I'm going to try to work with the fact that some of these are the wrong length. So here's this. We're going to just mute for now. We just want to lop off the end so that we can make sure they're in time with the other ones that I sang. And then we'll work to blend them together, or maybe not use one of them, or we'll see how that goes. We're not done yet. We got this third one down here. So now I'm going to go down and I'm going to, now that I have all the timing and I've got this framework, I'm going to go and I'm going to do one more set of screams. I'm going to try to make these screams as less pitch-like as possible. And now we'll have a way to comp and balance the screams for an altogether awesome, I hope, awesome track. Let's give it a try. So I don't want a choir of screaming people. So we're going to intentionally get rid of some of these volume-wise. I'm going to start by lowering the gain, and eventually we'll go to actual volume automation. I really like that one, the way that those turned out. Okay, so it's getting closer. We just need to glue those parts together a little bit more, and we're on our way to having a really good sounding aggressive vocal. Part of what we're going to do now is work with the delays and the effects a little bit, the post effects here, so that we can create a space. You know, when you listen to a vocal track like this, a lot of times you'll hear the delay will be automated up just a little bit during the screams, and then it'll be automated a little bit down during the singing parts, that kind of thing. And so we're going to, rather than automating, since we've got different tracks and we've got different scream tracks that are the ones we're focusing on, we can increase the delay on the scream tracks, and that will help glue things together even further. So let's do that. So this guy, we want more delay. And we want, I think, on this guy, we actually want this to be quarter note instead of eighth note, with a little bit of deviance. It'll help spread it out without it being a totally different time altogether. And so you hear how it carries over. If we go through and we do this, and we mute all of these, hear how the delay carries over to the singing. Yeah, that's sounding pretty cool. I'm going to move this forward a little.
I am the type of person that will sit here for another 4 hours and tweak this and maybe even redo a couple of those screams, but that's not really why I'm making the video. It's to show you my process. So let's listen from the top here and just see if it's pretty close. This is how I record aggressive vocals. And before we listen through again, if you're interested in discovering more about your voice and what it can do, follow the free link below, and you can take my free voice masterclass. I've also got a free recording course that you can also click the link below too. So let's listen again. Yeah, so I think we're pretty close. I feel like I'm pushing the beat sometimes on the singing portions, which, as I listen through to it, in this particular context, it almost sounds all right. I might experiment with nudging those here and there to see if I can't get it a little bit more dialed in, but I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out so far. Let me know what you thought of this in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you like these videos and you want more of them. Again, be sure to check out my free vocal course and my free recording course, both in the links below. You can also download this track and an isolated vocal stem to hear both of them, just because it's kind of fun. So you can try some of this stuff on your own. See you guys soon.